Janet and John go to the garden centre. Today, Janet and John are going to the garden centre. Janet wants to buy a climber to cover up one of John's sheds. See Janet looking at all the flowers. John is looking at the garden ornaments. John is laughing at how funny the big concrete gnomes look with their round bellies and white beards. John is watching the workmen make the gnomes. See the men tip concrete into the moulds. See the workmen point at John and laugh. Poor John.
That's not
John
funny.
sees Mrs. Perkins from the co-op. "Hello, Mrs. Perkins," says John. "Hello, Mr. Marsh," says Mrs. Perkins. What fun. Mrs. Perkins says, "I'm looking for a nice Thymus serpillum for my window box and wanted to find something to perk up the privet in my front garden. It's very dull in the winter.
Oh, dear.
And I can't seem to find anything here that suits dry soil. I was wondering if I could have a cutting from your Clematis vitalba." "Of course," says John. "I will see if I can find you one." Kind John. Do you know what clematis is? John does. John has lots of helpful books in his shed. John says, "Janet is looking for a climber." Mrs. Perkins says, "You ought to try Ipomea purpurea. My dog has a nice, reliable one at the back of the woodshed." Get Janet to pop around to see if she wants a cutting. "Thank you," says John. John walks around looking at the flowers. "Hello, John," says Janet. "Who was that lady I saw you talking to?" See the warning signs. John says, "That was Mrs. Perkins from the co-op. She was after a wild thyme and asked if she could have a bit of my old man's beard in her front hedge."
Have you read this before?
She said that in exchange, Mr. Perkins has a purple morning glory that you could look at behind the woodshed. See Janet push John into one of the big tubs of concrete. Do you think John looks like a garden ornament? Janet does. See Janet waiting for the concrete to set. Poor John.